Hello.
Hello.
We're here to talk about Gone Girl. Don't nod, it's a podcast.
Okay.
Jeez. What did you think of Gone Girl?
I really enjoyed it, actually.
Good. Out of 5. 'Cause that's how we do it.
5.
5. 5 is good. I would also give it 5. I know some people that wouldn't give it 5.
I have also seen plenty of people that give it 5.
It's hard to talk about it without being spoilerific, so it's going to be spoilers from here on out, because it's almost impossible to talk about without that, to be fair. I quite liked Ben Affleck in it, although, we were talking about Rosamund Pike. Rosamund Pike's really good in it.
Better than Ben Affleck, I thought.
I thought they were both on a really good level.
Ben Affleck was very good, but to have your first leading role in a film.
I'm not sure what else she's been in. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's had a kind of semi-lead role before, probably. Although it is like David Fincher to pick the underdog for that role. But no, I like Rosamund Pike. But like Ben Affleck's on the side of that where the media attention's all on him. It's all on her, but she's not there. She's absent. She's like off, downtown, wherever. And he's got all the media spotlight on him, and that's why Fincher picked him.
He plays a very good wounded animal,
right? And like you know how he feels about media on his own life, so he can bring that to the character. Where the policemen are going through his trash, and the news reporters are outside his house, and they wave at him and they've got a cup. They got his cup. They're about to test it, take it away for testing, and they wave at him, and he just pulls it down. The anger on his face. It's probably quite real if he's in that space, especially since they're probably shooting that scene 13 times if it's Fincher.
Yeah, 13 is a day off.
13 does sound like a day off for Fincher, to be fair. But that's the way he works. There's method in his madness, definitely.
He gets results.
Yeah, absolutely. They know the beats and everything like clockwork, and all the cast do as well, all the crew. I liked his sister Margot.
Yes, it was a really important role, actually.
Yeah.
From almost the first moment.
Yeah, it was. It did kind of set it up that how close they actually were. Not twincest close, but close. But I don't know. With that movie, I really liked the fact that it was so funny as well as so dark.
Yes.
I don't know how much you laughed at it.
A reasonable amount. Fincher's films usually have a
dark current.
Yes, but that certainly had a satirical almost.
Oh yeah,
humour about it.
It's surprising how many people don't laugh. And I went to go see it in Manchester the first time, and loads of people laughed. I think it was on form for Fincher fans. I think they all knew what was coming. And then I went to go see it in Didsbury, and barely any laughs, because they just felt choked by the darkness that was in the film. They just couldn't laugh. They just didn't get it. It didn't register. There's one point when Ben Affleck's reading one of the clues, and it's something like, "This is a tight spot." He's like, he stops reading. You meant to laugh at that bit, and then he goes, "I know this one." He's beaming, and you meant to laugh at that because it makes it sound like his wife's.
I think when I watched it, there's a lot of withheld laughter. There were people who wanted to laugh,
yeah,
but didn't feel it was the right film to be laughing.
Yeah, they thought they'd be struck down as if it was like Schindler's List or something like that. But I don't know. Fincher's got a good standpoint on it. He doesn't push it too far. He doesn't push it to slapstick humour. He does keep it on the down low. Although most people point out that the film is kind of, I don't know, not factual necessarily, but not as believable. But it's a film. Fincher will tell you that. The writer will tell you that it's a film. It's not about how big or small the film is in terms of its themes and stuff like that and its story, but instead what the messages, and the messages it's in the context of marriage. It's not actually true. You know what I mean? They're not trying to say it's true, but they're saying that the secret message underneath that is that marriage is hard. As he said, not that you probably do want to bash your brains out, each other's brains out.
It was a very good comment, that. The whole... I think everybody wants the idea of getting in to know how people are thinking.
Yeah.
Because people do irrational, odd things.
Yeah, absolutely.
The violent nature of I want to bash your head in. Perfectly, so it brings a nice circle to the film, a nice round feel to the film. But also, it works on... Because when you first hear it, here's a spoiler that you're going to hear that twice.
We've already got spoilers going.
When you first hear it, you think, what a bastard he is.
Yeah.
And then actually, to a degree, you still think that when you next hear it.
Well, he is still a bastard, but you
it has a lot of
deserves it.
meaning. There's more context to that, which is obvious because we've just sat through 2 and so many minutes of the film.
I mean, with that film, I was reading a Guardian article today about some guy was saying, and it's always a problem, to be fair, with like feminists and kind of male authoritative figures, in which the author is, if we talked about this, that he's putting his viewpoint there, and so the feminists will be angry because he's trying to put an authoritative viewpoint. He's writing for a paper he's been paid for. He's writing for that article. He's been paid for that article. That's an authoritative standpoint, regardless of what you have to say, or whether you can't make it unbiased. It's your opinion. But he put that instead of reversing gender roles and kind of making it more about freeing women, it locks them down in the exact same places they've been before. He tried to argue. And while I slightly understand, that's not the point of the point of the movie, is about women's empowerment in a way, in a weird Fincher, Gillian Flynn way. But it's also about marriage. You can't have marriage without a man and a woman, a man and a man, a woman and a woman.
Yes, the female characters was far more depth to them. The Rosamund Pike's character was it is a reversal of roles. You'd usually associate that with a man as well. But Margot was the reason Ben Affleck or Nick Dunn kept going. She was really the driving force in his defence. Like her character is a really interesting one for this feminism look at, because I think she has one of the most crucial roles in the film.
She does have one of the kind of loudest voices of the film.
She's one of the most powerful characters.
Yeah, but like with Rosamund Pike, because everyone's obviously focusing on Rosamund Pike, because to be fair, she's part of that struggle between them both, and you obviously at a certain point you start to lose respect for her. Like you gain it at the very kind of the first half, because he is a cheating bastard. Like he did that the lip thing, and he's going out with like a college girl. He still says that he loves her. He ignores her. Blah blah. Yeah. I mean, obviously you're seeing it through her viewpoint. It might be skewed, as it always is, regardless of if she was a psychopath or not. So it's always skewed whatever she says. But so is his. So is his interpretation of that.
There's always different versions of the truth, isn't there?
Yeah, but you know for a fact that he cheated.
But you don't. You have a lot of sympathy for her character because she builds him up.
Yeah.
Into a monster. It then twists, and you really feel sorry for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then you find out that actually he is partially the monster. You find out about the affair after you think, oh, it twists on her.
Yeah.
So it's beautifully paced, and it hits the beats at the right moment, and you never know how the story's quite going to go. And the characters as well, you feel sorry for one, then you feel sorry for the other, and then towards the end, there's a universal almost dislikening to both.
Yeah.
That neither proved to be very nice people.
At the end, it's kind of they deserve to be with each other.
Yes.
That kind of thing. And like that's the way it should be. I mean, some people wouldn't agree with that because they think that Rosamund Pike is worse than him, but hers is a reaction to him. I mean, but the writer in that also stresses that his point isn't over that, actually. It isn't over the marriage. It's what she does beforehand. She lies about rape, and I don't know what necessarily she does to Neil Patrick Harris. He must have. She led him along, and he did try to commit suicide. And while I understand where he's coming from, again, I like a guy could do that. A guy could, not necessarily say the rape thing, but a guy could get away with that on the other half, and you'd be wary. You'd still be wary of him. You'd still think he was a bastard, but that's a male gender thing. It's not usually that a woman. I don't see many movies where the woman lies about rape. A lot of times, no. I've seen a lot of movies where the man rapes, quite literally, but not where a woman lies about rape.
No,
and that was that was as a further way to control that guy because she tried to pull away, and like that's her psychopathic tendency. And no, there's no more than that. It's not trying to make a statement about women saying that they have to control, otherwise they'll lie about rape. You know, that shouldn't be what the message is. The message is that she was controlling over him, and she would do whatever it took to try and control him or teach him in some way, which is exactly what she does to Ben Affleck.
Yeah, there's only a very rare moment in the film where she's no way in control of this whole situation.
Is that the Neil Patrick Harris?
No, I would say it's the money when she gets robbed.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the only moment she is not in control. Because as soon as that happens, she gets the plan about Neil Patrick Harris's character. And I always felt as soon as she got with him that she had a game plan.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the only moment she was never in control.
Because she stayed with him for about a good week before she started to wrap around the plan. And also with the point of when she leaves Ben Affleck, so she had a control asserted over him. She still had a few more things, and then when she left to go to that retreat, that was her loosening. But that was as a result of him, because he wanted her to be a certain way, to act a certain way. That was her. His control was also her control over because it was a marriage. They both had control over each other in some small way. She felt that she needed to be the size that he wanted her to be the weight that he needed it to be, the colour. And she changed all that when she went down. She started. You notice that she just eats junk food and chocolate because she doesn't give a shit. But that her leaving that control behind meant that those two people were free to come in. She was relaxed, too relaxed. She wasn't in control of this situation. When she finally got round to calling Neil Patrick Harris, she knew exactly where the control could be to get back again.
And she gave him, as she had done with all the other people in her life, she gave him the sense of control.
Absolutely.
Because she then did everything, because he wanted her to slim down and go blonde again.
Yeah. He asserted the male control over her again.
And she held out, and then she gave in. And then as soon as she did that, she had him.
Yeah. And that's really what the whole movie's about. It's not about what one is over the other. It's the fact that both are like contradicting forces of power, where they both want to have they want to have dominant control over one or the other, but they can't have equal. They can't have an equal marriage. There's always a fight for power and control, and that's what the movie's a metaphor for.
The Ben Affleck's character at the end, I think Margot says it again actually, that he's not trapped in it, and although he tries to say he is, he wants to be in it. He gets a kick out of being in it.
Absolutely.
That's why you just lose sympathy for them both. You suddenly really feel sorry for the people around, especially Margot at the end. She's
broken down. But yeah, you're right. And like at the end, he could leave easily. I mean, he would get so much media scrupulation, but hasn't he already? Like the amount of media attention on him.
Though,
what?
As soon as it would be proved that she is a lying psychopath.
Yeah, but how can that be? Yeah, but Mick was mentioning this, and the thing is that there's no way to shift it that easily, because there's Tyler Perry was talking before as his lawyer in the film. He said it's going to be hard, and that was when his wife was still dead, technically, or missing. Now that she's back, she has a way to fight, and you know how resourceful she is. So you know that it's going to be nigh on impossible. Tyler Perry's left. He was the only lawyer that would defend him in that, because that was his thing. And Ben Affleck has no case. He has no proof whatsoever. Even the cop left, and she had to leave, because otherwise she knew if she kept digging, they'd kick her out. Because at that point, Rosamund Pike is so powerful among the public eye, and because of the media speculation and everything, it's because of the media that the audience are controlled. The audience who watch that are controlled. She's a lovely lady. She would never do anything wrong, because that Ellen or whoever on TV on Channel 5, she told me.
Which brings the thing I got out of the film is that it's a satirical look at modern life. That everything was ran through the media. There was no moment off. Privacy is a wish.
Yeah, it's not happening.
There's the moment in the film which really hammered home this lack of privacy is the selfie moment.
Yeah.
She runs out, grabs a selfie, won't delete it. She even says, "I'll do what I want with it."
Yeah, and she does.
She
sells it on.
Yeah, and at no point was somebody not watching him.
No, that's true.
Which also led to the thinking of he had to have killed her and dumped her and just gone, because there's so much on him after that time. There was not a chance he was gonna get a moment where he could have then gone to hit the body or whatever.
Right.
Soon as he reported her as missing, his involvement was from the murder would have been cut.
Right.
Because he wouldn't have been able to get back to hiding or whatever.
Yeah.
So you always felt, I felt as the film was going on, that was never a possibility anyway.
Well, yeah, but you know that anyway. For the reason,
you do.
For the reason that it's like a 3-hour film, and it already starts off like with a kind of a lot of doubt. Like you do kind of build it, but you also guess it can't be that straightforward. It's a murder mystery essentially. If it's that straightforward, you'd hate the movie, right? If it's that straightforward that he killed his wife, and even if it showed you meticulously how he did it, it'd annoy you, because that's the first thing you think when you watch that movie, that he killed his wife. And so you would hate that type of movie, because the type of mystery movie where you know the end of the start is a pretty shit mystery movie, you know. But yeah, like in terms of the media thing, it was Sidney Lumet who made Network, and in the 90s he was asked about it again. He was like, you can't take the piss out of the media because they're a joke unto themselves. They're a parody of themselves now. You can't make anything about it. And Fincher doesn't even try to. He shows it in a very realistic... I mean, how many times have you seen shit like that? Where they're just saying random things, don't necessarily make sense, won't catch, but people take onto it like a fish to water.
Perfectly, that the media, Fincher represented the media exactly how they are. Yet exactly. They are a joke in it.
Yeah. Like, it's really weird. From the point of view of the film, you can sit and laugh at that media thing, at that news clip, at that news broadcaster. But you're not going to do that necessarily if you were just sat watching a real case. If they were saying this might happen, you go, oh geez, he might be having incest with his sister, or he bought all this. And you, like, it's really weird, the disconnected audience with the connected audience. the view of the disconnected audience to the connected audience is that they're fools, but in reality, the disconnected audience is the connected audience. It's a really weird thing. It's like almost watching yourself and going, "You're a dick." You know what I mean? Because the media does take you that way. The media does go, "Look, he definitely did the murder." And like in Stockport, there was a nurse who got accused of she put this whatever it was into IV fluid bags and it killed them. Whatever drug it was,
Right.
She OD'd a lot of patients on it. And one nurse got blamed for it. She got took under suspicion. Papers got hold of it, released all the information about her, what her name was and everything like that. The media reported that she's suspected, probably the criminal who did it, and the audience, the people, idiots that they are, sheep that they are, said she murdered them. My dad at the time went, she bloody murdered all of them. She should be shot, whatever. Just a very reactionary view. She didn't do it. They released her. She didn't do it. But even though that came out, she had to move. She couldn't work there anymore. She sued them. I think she might have sued the police or someone like that because she just couldn't work anymore. No one trusted her. I suppose she had a police record of some kind, even though she shouldn't, on suspicion. But even so, she's got the media attention behind her, and there's too much, and it crippled her. And it happens all the time. But let the media give a shit? No, they've moved on.
The media, however, it was amazing how he used it just to add little levels, little layers, which without them, there wouldn't have been it would have been too complicated to put it in. The whole, because they mentioned the incest between the twins. Twincest.
Love that line.
And really, without the media, you just wouldn't have been.
No, they're put like even though
you wouldn't have been able to say that because it just wouldn't have been.
But the thing is,
the media said it, and they kept knocking and you see the media reports, and they kept just knocking these little things off, which just added layers in such a clever way.
Yeah.
Because there was almost two stories. There's the film, which is almost a real life sort of story we're watching, and then the media because even the media campaign in the film, which isn't a story, so it's it's not real, it is exaggeration. We'd all be a bit doomed if we lost the ability to exaggerate in a film.
Yeah, that's true.
But the media campaign, you could watch that in itself because that's an exaggerated story of the story, which is exaggerated life. And it's amazing how he managed, how these layers are in it. Which Gillian Anderson also.
Well, Flynn.
Anderson.
And Anderson, you're getting into X-Files territory.
I know. After watching A Streetcar Named Desire the other week.
But with the representation of the media in that, they were mainly shown as a joke more than anything. Whenever it was shown, it was partly serious, but then it would obviously go off into those stupid stories that they always do. Doesn't it look weird that he was smiling in his picture? I mean, that was, you saw how it came about. You saw that it was a product of the media itself. The guy shouted "Smile," one of the photographers, and then they sold that because they can sell it for more, that photo, because they can go, look, you can report the story that you want to.
Yeah, I don't think they were shown as a joke. I think they were shown perfectly how they are.
Oh yeah,
knowing that it's a joke.
But it's surprising that a lot of audiences laugh at the media, because they did in Didsbury. They laughed at the media bit because that's the kind of dumb kind of humour that comes through more than the kind of satirical humour. Because you're worried about laughing at the satirical humour, but you know that you can laugh at you just know it's a dumb bit of humour. That's there for laughing. It's like a laugh track almost built for you. But the satirical one, you're on edge. You know what I mean? You're like, well, it's like a societal thing. What will people think of me? Well, as if you're going to be tarred and feathered out of the screen. But
I like the moment in the film where her parents turn on him.
Yeah.
Because that's you just get the feeling that that's all driven by the media. That's all.
But they drive the media as well.
They drive the media.
Amazing Amy.
And have had so much.
Think how much book sales went up.
Yes, there was always that feeling.
And they always kept mentioning it, which means although they cared about their daughter as Rosamund Pike, and it's the parents' fault because they obviously bred that psychosis that she has, because they've made her almost not in a way a narcissist, but they made her crazy because as Rosamund Pike pointed out, whatever she couldn't do, Amazing Amy did. Amazing Amy was the perfect role model for as their daughter, and Rosamund Pike wasn't. Rosamund Pike was like the second kid that no one cares about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't an only child. Amazing Amy was, in that way. Because the dad and the mum gave loving treatment to that daughter. And Amazing Amy was the one with everything they've got to give. Fuck Rosamund Pike, it seems, in that regard. Because they ignored that Amy.
Which also... that added another layer why she would want to disappear.
Yeah, and also possibly hatred against males in a lot of ways, or at least control.
Control, I would say.
Theirs was control.
Yes, but the mum seemed worse than the dad.
That's true. The mum did seem worse than the dad.
But when I said about as soon as the media campaign was on him, you knew that he didn't murder her.
Yeah.
I felt as soon as it all came on him, I felt there was so much on him. You knew it wasn't a murder. Also, with it being a 2.5 hour long film.
Yeah.
But the clever thing is that there were so many. Did she run away? Was she kidnapped? Did she kill herself?
Mm.
If she was kidnapped, who by? When? How? The one thing that comes as a surprise is what actually happens.
Mm.
Which is a big, elaborate tale which she had been working on for ages. And that's one of the few options you immediately spring to. You think kidnapping, so they break in, they take her, he killed her, she's ran off. That whole tale in such detail all makes perfect sense as you're going through it, but as I sat down in the cinema, I didn't even consider that in my head.
I mean, like, it's quite. I do like how he treats every single character, though, and Gillian Flynn, of course, because obviously they're all well-rounded characters. They're not like just flat. Like, he's a bastard, but he's also a fairly nice guy, but he's got these problems, and you know, he's got a temper.
One thing he's not a nice guy.
Well, he tries to be, or at least he pretends to be a nice guy.
He's not a nice guy at all, and I think that's why. Because one of the police officers takes an immediate dislike to him.
Yeah.
And I know why the media jumped on this bandwagon that he must have done it. And it's because he's not a nice guy. But he knows he can't not be a nice guy.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's pretending to be a nice guy. And that's difficult for him.
Hmm.
And that's why the media attack him, because they know that's false. Which is just another layer in this where it all turns on him. Because I wouldn't say at any point that his character was nice. Yeah,
but at the end, did you not partly feel sorry for him? Even the first time I saw it, I felt sorry for him, and then the second time I saw it, I thought, well, actually, they're just as bad as each other. So my viewpoint changed the second time I watched it because I knew more about.
I did feel sorry for him.
But he's not a nice guy. He's
not
for an arsehole then.
You are feeling sorry for an arsehole.
Although I suppose that's what Fincher loves.
In very difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
It's which Hitchcock film is it where the killer's locked in the back of a truck?
Oh, frenzy.
Yes, and then you start feeling...
Yeah, you feel scared for what's going to happen to him. Like,
Yeah.
he's going to be caught. He's just strangled and raped a woman.
It's that thing. So you do feel sorry for him. But I was walking out the cinema thinking, am I sorry for him?
Right.
Because if he wanted to, he could leave.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to. He likes being in that relationship.
That's going to be a damn good child, I can tell you that.
He likes being in that relationship. And he gets a kick out of it. So actually, there are points where you go through it and you do feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
But at the end, you have no sympathy for either of them.
That's true.
They are both there because they want to be there. Both of them could get out, but they don't want to get out.
Well, she definitely doesn't want to get out. Like, he had thought. I mean, you know, the scene where he smashes her head into the wall and stuff like that. You're kind of waiting for that release, and that, I think that is a kind of perfectly timed release of the whole entirety of the film, just weighing down on them.
That was a release from him, but still at that moment.
It was a release from her as well.
Yeah, yes, because she was waiting for that reaction.
She really was.
That whole film amazingly built to that one.
Not even 5 minutes.
No, that was the peak of the tension between them.
Yeah, you needed that scene. It couldn't have finished without that.
But from that moment, all sympathy is lost.
Yeah.
Because from that moment, you realise them two love this situation they're in.
They're both psychopaths.
They are both psychopaths.
As a side note, did you notice, you know, the cop, the main cop doing the case?
Yeah.
Did you know that she's always got a coffee?
Yeah.
Always got a big
Dunkin' Donuts.
I don't know whether it's Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah. That's a bit mean. Hey, come on. They weren't all that bad, the cops.
Yeah.
No, it was just a large grande coffee.
It was always, I think it was always Dunkin' Donuts.
No, it's different cups. How do you know it's Dunkin' Donuts?
I could be, because you kept sort of seeing the logo.
I think you did at one point, but I suppose
I could be wrong on at all, but I was pretty sure.
I don't know whether the one at the start is. It's like a brown cup. I don't think it is Dunkin' Donuts. But did you also notice product placement? How much product placement there was in that movie?
Oh, a lot.
A hell of a lot.
The girl with the dragon tattoo has a lot, but they're very cleverly done.
Yeah,
they're never in your face. The cop was drinking a Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Oh.
There was a Bex in the background in a pub.
Sony via a laptop.
Via laptop. They're just cleverly used props.
Yeah.
Because in the flat in the girl in dragon tattoo, there's just an IKEA box in the background. Yeah. They're never in your face. They're just well used props.
Do you remember you've not seen Fight Club?
No.
In Fight Club, there's just one bit where it's a slow camera move out of a bin. And it's all because it was the 90s, and you know, it was all kind of new CGI that they used to do it. It's not too bad. It doesn't look too bad because it's Fincher, and it's coming out, and it's just showing all these brands, you know, in front of you in the rubbish and just coming out of it. I think it's while the narration comes on. I won't tell you any more than that because it makes sense within the scene, because we'll see it in November.
28 days later.
Yeah, but the Coke, was it Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi, he's just in the middle of all these cans. He drinks a Pepsi, but there's 7-Up and there's Tango, and there's just a floor full of cans.
Although, you know, they probably didn't get brand filming.
No, but I wanted a Pepsi after it.
That's fair. But they didn't get brand filming because, as Danny Boyle pointed out, the reason why he wanted to do it on digital and stuff like that is because it makes it more easy to shoot illegally. Like I don't think they had permission to film. They definitely didn't have much permission to film on the streets, and
Westminster Bridge was.
They just got people to shut it down quickly.
They didn't have a budget to close it off.
They didn't have permission.
So they could ask the public if for 10 minutes they don't mind. And amazingly, people, you know, it's Danny Boyle film. Yeah, fine. So art department just ran down scattering this rubbish. He put cameras.
There was about 10 different
yeah,
views.
He just put them all over the place. He just walked through it. They cleaned it up, and the bridge was open again. It was 10 minutes it was closed for.
So there you go. I mean, you can imagine how much traffic they had to stop for that.
Yes, around that
part
area of London, yeah.
But it's amazing the film that they came out with such a limited budget.
The traffic of people walking across it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's Houses of Parliament and then
you literally don't see a soul, because there's one shot from there, like up at the top, and it's quite a big wide shot for it.
Danny Boyle really liked wide shots.
But it's the fact that you could see right down and you're like, there's nobody there.
And it's so empty. And the amount of really big wides.
Yeah. And the
in London.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be one person.
He also loves tilting the camera a lot.
Yeah.
But have you seen Trance? Did you see Trance?
No, I didn't watch Trance.
Trance is a good film. I do quite like it.
I know there's a lot of reflection shots, which
there's a lot of
the idea
shots.
of.
There's also a lot of Rosario Dawson. But that's what the film honestly got known for. It came out as 15. You see 2 instances of Rosario Dawson full frontal, and it's a 15. I don't know where the BBFC got that, but as soon as it came on DVD, 18. I'm sure it was a 15 when it came out to cinema. But anyway, that's a different movie for a different time. Gone Girl, both liked. 5 out of 5. What's your views on it? And it'll probably be bad next time with another bloody movie. Probably Interstellar.
I can't wait for. But Gone Girl was almost a perfect thriller in the sense that it was unforeseen twists and turns. You never quite know where it's going to go. It was well acted, despite the criticism of Rosamund Pike I keep reading and hearing.
Yeah.
It's 5 out of 5.
Okay.